One thing is certain, the spice must flow. The same applies to successful blockbuster movies. After the big science fiction hits Dune and Dune Part 2, we can now look forward to the epic conclusion of Denis Villeneuve's desert trilogy, Dune 3 Messiah. We can tell you this much in advance. This time, the story takes a really dark turn. In this movie preview, we give you all the known details about the production, how the story of Paul Atreides continues, and what else awaits us in the Dune universe. Enjoy! Let's begin with a quick recap of where we are in the story. The movies are set on the desert planet Arrakis, the only source of the valuable spice, without which interplanetary travel is nearly impossible. House Atreides is given control over spice production at the Emperor's request. However, it's all part of a conspiracy in which the rival House Harkonnen nearly wipes out the Atreides family. The heir to the throne, Paul, and his mother Jessica, manage to flee into the desert, where they are taken in by the native Fremen. Together, they begin a rebellion against the rule of the Harkonnen, while Paul rises to become the leader and chosen messiah of the Fremen. Part 2 ends with their victory over the Harkonnen and the Emperor on Arrakis, but now an interplanetary war is looming. Just like the previous movies, the third one is based on the novels by Frank Herbert. The story is therefore already known, even if it may, of course, deviate from the original in some details. In this section, we'll reveal what to expect in the new movie according to the book Dune Messiah. So if you're not interested in any spoilers, you might want to skip straight to the next section. The story of Dune Messiah picks up 12 years after its predecessor. The jihad rages across countless worlds, claiming billions of lives. Paul, now worshipped as the godlike emperor of the universe, ascends to the Golden Lion throne. Thanks to his special abilities, he sees countless possible paths into the future, but almost all lead to the downfall of humanity. Only the so-called Golden Path is said to be able to prevent this. At the center of the story is a conspiracy against Paul. The powerful houses, Emperor Shaddam IV, the Guild Navigators, the Bene Gesserit, and Princess Irulan all fear Paul's growing power and secretly plot to overthrow him. Their goal? To avert the Golden Path, which they themselves see as a threat to humanity and their own interests. One of the key elements of the conspiracy is hate, a resurrected version of the murdered Duncan Idaho, Paul's former mentor and friend. He's supposed to gain the new ruler's trust, only to subsequently destroy him. The relationship between Paul and Chani also plays a crucial role. Chani is pregnant, and in his visions, Paul sees that the birth will result in twins and lead to Chani's death. This marks a pivotal turning point for him, as he is torn between his love for Chani and his knowledge of the necessity of the Golden Path. Here, there is already a small difference compared to Denis Villeneuve's films. At the end of Dune Part 2, Chani leaves Paul and returns to the desert, so it remains to be seen how this storyline will be realized in the new movie. The conspiracy culminates in an assassination attempt on Paul. During a celebration, an atomic weapon is detonated, leaving Paul physically blind. However, his visions allow him to continue seeing despite his blindness. Shortly afterwards, Chani gives birth to twins, Leto II and Ganima. But, as Paul had foreseen, Chani dies during childbirth. In a moment of deepest despair, he recognizes that he can no longer avoid the Golden Path. The loss of his beloved Chani and the realization that his children are the key to humanity's salvation drive him to make a terrible decision. After Paul entrusts his children to the care of Princess Irulan and his sister Alia, he sets off alone into the desert to die, following the ancient Fremen tradition. His power is to be passed on to his children. Once again, director Denis Villeneuve relies on his tried and tested cast. Alongside Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya, Florence Pugh returns as Princess Irulan and Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho, a comeback that fans of the book are sure to have been eagerly awaiting. We'll also get to see Anya Taylor-Joy as Paul's sister Alia Atreides. The role of the so-called face dancer Scytale may go to none other than Robert Pattinson. However, official confirmation is still pending. Scytale is one of Paul Atreides' main adversaries and uses deception and genetic manipulation to challenge the Empire. Denis Villeneuve remains involved as writer and director, bringing his vision of the Dune saga to a close. The filmmaker has already announced that this will be his final contribution to the series. This installment is also expected to differ significantly from its predecessors. Instead of focusing on epic set pieces and bombastic action, the movie will be more about intrigue and philosophical themes. There is one change behind the camera. This time, cinematography will be handled by Linus Sandgren, known for his work on La La Land, James Bond No Time to Die, and Saltburn. We cannot wait to see whether this change will have an impact on the visual style of the film series. Author Frank Herbert wrote his second book in response to a phenomenon that was also evident in Denis Villeneuve's film adaptations. Many viewers saw the main character Paul primarily as a shining hero who fights evil. However, this was not Herbert's intention. Dune Messiah is therefore a deeply pessimistic exploration of heroism and the nature of leadership. According to Herbert himself, the novel was meant to highlight the dangers of blindly worshipping a messiah. He warns against placing power and responsibility for one's own destiny in the hands of a single individual, even if that person appears to possess godlike abilities. The main message is that every golden path, every seemingly inevitable solution, can come at a high price. Paul is no longer a triumphant hero, but a prisoner of his own prophecies. He is forced to make morally questionable decisions that cost countless lives. Herbert challenges the notion of the good ruler and shows that even the noblest of intentions can lead to cruel outcomes. He equally criticizes the vulnerability to religious influence and the danger of a religious leader becoming the figurehead of a merciless jihad. Paul's rise leads to a bloody crusade that he can no longer control. The novel serves as a reminder to question authority and to be aware of one's own responsibility, rather than blindly submitting to a leader. Filming for Dune Messiah will begin in Budapest in September 2025. The same studios were used for the studio shots in the first two films, while external shots were filmed in locations such as Jordan and the United Arab Emirates. The theatrical release is currently scheduled for December 18, 2026. We might be in for an epic box office showdown that day, as Avengers Doomsday is set to premiere on the same date. Some fans are already speculating about a new crossover phenomenon, similar to what happened with Barbie and Oppenheimer. However, it's also possible that one of the two movies will be postponed again. Although the main series under Denis Villeneuve is coming to an end with Dune 3, there is no reason to be sad. More is already in the pipeline. Another, so far untitled spin-off series, Season 2 of Dune Prophecy, and possibly even a fourth movie, based on the novel Children of Dune. If Part 3 proves to be another box office success, it's likely that more of Frank Herbert's books will be adapted sooner or later, though probably under a different director and with a mostly new cast. What do you think of the Dune series? Spectacular sci-fi cinema, or just a boring desert mess? And what are your expectations for Part 3? Do you welcome the shift away from big action scenes? Tell us what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed our little preview, please give the video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.